and the man-fools piled rock on rocks and raised a treesy roof. Hammers, saws tear the skin of goodsy wood, and laughs at the woodsy lord. And when learns the lord of this, he sends his beast-seas to the man-fools, who attacks and hammers saws their useless fleshes, and build him a house of they rotting skins. Unattributed trickster song.
I was pissed at Cuddy for a good while after the prison debacle. But hey, you can't blame him for what the hammers did to him. So I decided to go after that horn Felix talked about. Not like I had a whole lot of choice, really. The rent is due. My landlord's even tougher than the hammers. The map's pretty specific about where the entrance is. Too bad it's not as clear about where the horn is. Felix did some scrounging before he left, and his notes say the horn is in the tomb of some nobles. The Quintus family. Guess I'll just have to explore. Felix, always helpful, also said that the catacombs are supposed to be haunted. I think I'll go make some inquiries about where a heretic like me can get some holy water. Always go prepared.
Welcome back, good viewer. This is the Skyrider. And pretty though the night sky is, do not let that fool you, because we are about to venture into the Bonehoard. Oh dear. It's not one of my favourite missions, as you can probably tell, for reasons that will become all too apparent as we venture deeper into the earth, but into these haunted catacombs. It's just got a lot of zombies in it, and a lot of tricky bits of platforming. And of course, what kind of Tomb Raider would we be if we weren't facing off against traps? Many sorts of deadly traps. Oh lord. Let's have a look at our objectives, good viewer. Down in the Bonehoard. Search through the ancient Bonehoard and procure the legendary Horn of Quintus. In addition to garnering the Horn of Quintus, find and steal the fabled gemstone, the mystic's soul. What use do the dead have for their treasures, anyhow? Relieve them of at least 2,000 worth of valuables. The mystic's soul had a sister stone, called the mystic's heart, also thought to be in the Bonehoard. Find it. Make it yours. Once you have got what you came for, get back to the surface. And there we have it. Those are all of our objectives. I wonder if they used actual constellations, or if they just did in fact create them. Because there's a constellation, that one sort of looks a bit like Cassiopeia, but then again doesn't. I'm not seeing a plough, or... that one could be Taurus if you look at it from a weird angle. And that one is sort of like Cepheus. I'm not sure. Cepheus, is that the one am I thinking of? I can't remember. That's what you do when you get a GCSE in astronomy, good viewer. You become a nerd about the stars and constellations. It's one of the few things I can actually remember from that. So, random gold cup in this first bit. 15 out of 2,000 gold. And you'll want to try and get as much as you possibly can in all of the areas, good viewer, because, well, because it's such a large, sprawling area, as you will soon see, it becomes quite difficult to remember where everything is, and it can be tricky to find your way back if you're not careful. So, time to go down the Bonehoard. I didn't mean to do that, but oh well.
It's a long way down.
Here we are. Suitably dramatic sound effect there. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Skyrider, you roguishly handsome devil, there aren't that many objectives, it doesn't look that complicated. Why is this level so difficult? Or why is this... you claim that this level is so difficult? It's easy, surely. My response to that, good viewer, is that there is a technical term for this sort of level in a Thief game, and that technical term is, it's a bitch. This level is a bitch. Okay, Bob, you can stop moaning. And, yeah. Take him out there. Yes, this is one of those levels in the Thief, well, particularly in the first Thief game, I believe. I believe that there are more, it's a bitch sort of levels in this game than there are in others, are in the other two. And this level is a bitch simply because it's a long one. Giggity. There is a lot more to do than one would initially expect, and it's also just a complete and total maze. It's very easy to get lost. Your map in this level is so vague as to be useless. It's just, you know, not useful at all, and it's incredibly easy to get lost, and if you do get lost, then you can spend hours wandering around trying to find your way out, or indeed trying to figure out where you're supposed to go next, which can also be a problem. Dead person. A bedroll, in case we ever wanted to go to sleep, and a book. Nice to know that these guys still keep their little journals going. Let's have a look to see what it says. I've had enough. If Felix wants to stay and be killed, that's his business, but the pay's not good enough to keep me down here a minute more. We already lost Dranko to those damn belching burrocks, and Marcus didn't make the jump across that huge chasm. He probably drowned if he wasn't dashed to bits. I thought about looking for his body as he was carrying some loot from a poorly guarded tomb, but it wasn't worth the risk. Then we watched Cather get filled with arrows from a clever trap in one of those great octagonal vaults. Not that I cared one whit for Cather, the bastard, but I have no intention of ending up the same way. I don't expect I'll see Felix again. He seemed sure that the Horn of Quintus was somewhere north of the vaults, but I think that was just a guess. I thought those strange X-shaped marks off that branch of the Burrock tunnels were worth investigating, but Felix said they were irrelevant. Anyway, if the traps and zombies don't get him, the Burrocks will. Those tunnels were a nightmare. At least our marks were mostly still intact. I'm almost out, but I need to sleep. I think the place I've found is out of the way enough that the zombies won't find me. Unfortunately, mate, you were wrong. It's a little dark note there. The fact that that chap died when he hoped that he wouldn't. It's a clever, nice little touch, I feel. Now, I mentioned earlier, good viewer, that this mission is not one of my favourites, and it isn't, but it's weird. I sometimes like this mission, and at other times I can't stand it. Most of the times I can't stand it, but I do like the architecture in here, I will admit that. It does feel very sort of tomb-like, and like feels like catacombs. You get a very sort of claustrophobic feel from this. Alorus. Whoever they were. I mean, like, this is a nice little room. Nothing in it, admittedly, but, you know, it's still sort of, it looks nice as a room. Unfortunately, the issues I have with this level all occur in the next part of it. So as we can see here, this is where we first entered, and if you look in here, you get a stash full of about, is it 15 or so water arrows? It's a lot of water arrows anyway, which come in useful. One thing I haven't shown, good viewer, because, again, certain elements of this game perhaps doesn't like recording, one thing I haven't shown is the shop, which you get at the start of each mission, which you use to buy things with the loot from the previous mission. You can buy things. So, in my case, I bought a few more healing potions, a lot of holy water, which will come in very useful for, should we need to kill zombies. I bought about 10 or so water arrows, because they're relatively cheap. we start off with those rope arrows, and I also bought a noisemaker arrow. Here we have a holy water font, should we need it, but I don't think we'll need that for the moment. Okay, now, you have to be very careful in the Bonehoard, good viewer, because this place is crawling with traps. And these traps are not too difficult to avoid if you know what you're doing. For example, look at the floor here, this sort of L shape. You can quite clearly see that it's not, you know, that it's different to the rest of the floor, that it's some sort of pressure pad. If you also look on the wall here, you can see these 3 square holes in it. Now, I'm sure any idiot can put 2 and 2 together to know that if you stand on a pressure pad, it will trigger a trap. So basically, good viewer, don't stand on the pressure pads. And grab that gold jar from up there without standing on it. So just, like, always, you know, look at the floor, look at the walls. If you can see something like that, then just plan ahead and don't stand on anything. Right. Now that's just the dead body of a hammer, which we don't want to disturb. So we're going to go deeper into the catacombs, good viewer. Climb down this rope. Okay. So, zombies, which we're just going to get past like that, grab that gem out of that chest. No need to disturb him, because believe you me, good viewer, there will be plenty of zombies later on. Into the water. And start swimming. Yes, but this mission can be really quite irritating if you don't know what you're doing. As I said, you really have to you know, scout a lot in this mission, which is somewhat unfortunate. Now again, holes in these pedestals, and also bones on the floor, which does beg the question, what happened to this poor individual? That happened, good viewer. The repeated opening and closing of chests. So we just open them from a completely different angle, and you'll be fine. So we got a speed potion and many fire arrows out of that, good viewer. The 3rd type of elemental arrow, which set things on fire, as the name would suggest, which will be very useful later on. Now here we have another trap, good viewer, which you have to be careful of. Now for some reason, when you go down that ladder, you'll keep going down automatically, like on auto run. Don't know why, it just happens. So, when you get to the bottom, see, pressure pad, get off the pressure pad, otherwise this happens. Big rock from down above. That will kill you if you stand on it, so don't. That's my advice. So, here we are, good viewer. Second part. Now that we've done with those initial tombs, we're in the Burrock tunnels. So we can see here an arrow that leads the way out. Now that's something important to bear in mind, because that means that the arrows lead the way out, so the opposite way indicates how to get deeper into the catacombs. Now, good viewer, I don't know if you can hear. If you listen very carefully, and I'll stand still in a moment so you can, if you hear very carefully, far away in the distance, you can hear the echoing sound of an instrument, as well as the hissing of burrocks, which somewhat ruins the effect. But just listen. Far away. That's the atmospheric, I think. That is our objective, good viewer, the Horn of Quintus. Now, this is a burrock. Nasty little bastards, particularly if they spot you like that, because they'll do that. And I had hoped to knock this bastard out. And my hopes were fulfilled, I'm glad to say, good viewer. Yes, burrocks are... they can be quite nasty, because they can belch gas at you. which is their main form of attack. But you can knock burrocks out, and you can attack them with swords. Obviously, attacking them with swords takes a lot longer, but you can actually knock them out. You have to get, like, very, very close to them. Almost sort of... It's almost counterintuitive, because you're almost essentially right on top of them, sort of moving into their tails, so to speak, before you can knock them out. So, this is the second part of this level, the burrock tunnels. What's this? Some sort of hole. Well, I'm sure nothing bad can come of this. I have got to stop doing that. Blasted holes. I'm gonna get out of the water. Whew. Right. Okay. Now, again, good viewer, holes in the walls, look at the floor, it doesn't look good. So, how do we get past this one? This is a fairly simple trap system to avoid. You could do the whole complicated thing of trying to jump onto the right parts of the hole. But my advice is just to crouch. So long as you walk along the hole, walk along the floor crouched, then yes, you will set these traps off. But the arrows will go right over your head, so that's not too much of a problem. Now these trap holes are slightly hard to spot, as they're in the side there. There's only one trigger for that one, and that's right there, which again looks slightly off. The pattern's off, you can see there. And here, we have some more fire arrows, which again will come in useful, and another dead body. Maybe this is Marcus, or one of the Felix's fellows. Some more gold, useful, and a papyrus scroll. Let's read what this says. I decided to take the plunge. If my records are correct, there should be a stash of fire crystals in the lowest wee bit, which was sealed for centuries but has since been opened up by the burrocks. I'll need the crystals for the torches if I'm going to get the mystic soul. So, that's a clue for you, good viewer. So, as I said, it's always best to explore. Ow! Bastard! That set it off. It shouldn't have done that. Well, that's me and my hubris for you. Good thing we brought along healing potions. There we go. What was I saying? Yes, it always does good to explore levels you're not familiar with, good viewer, because you can discover things like that. So we now know that we need fire arrows to get the mystic soul, which is good to note. Because if you don't know these things, then you could be wandering around for hours trying to find them, and again, there are some things that aren't necessarily written in the objectives that you really do need to know, so that applies to quite a few thief levels, so it's always good to go exploring. And good viewer, I think we will leave this bitular level here for the moment. I would point out, however, that this is not the worst level in this game, in my opinion. That comes later on. But it's still the first of several bitches in this game. Bitches of levels, which are not good. They're worse than ordinary bitches, one might argue. But there we go, that's just a matter of opinion. So next time, good viewer, we will venture our way through the tunnels of the burrocks, try and locate our tombs to plunder, and then see about getting out of this hellhole, lest we be buried along with the rest of them. I always like to leave things on a positive note. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Skyrider. Farewell until we meet again.